It looks like it's 12 o'clock and we are live. We should be live from YouTube and LinkedIn. And if anybody's out there, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to go ahead and kick this off with this free webinar, Getting Started in Project Management.
Welcome. Yes.
Welcome. What we're going to go over today, we're going slow again. The agenda is we're going to do intros. We're going to tell you who we are and then why we're doing this particular presentation. I always like to tell you why we're giving this information to you. How does one become a project manager? We'll go over whether or not the market is saturated and what that looks like. And one of the main questions that we always get is, should I get a PMP or a Master's in Project Management or a PGMP or a CaPM or, which should I do with all this stuff out here? So we'll talk about that. We'll also go over the future outlook for project managers. What does the career path look like? What are we looking at for the future? We'll give you some options based on all the information that we've given you, and we'll go over questions. So if you have questions during the presentation, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we'll try to get to them. Otherwise, we will make sure we leave time at the end for questions. So let's get into it. Miss Jan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Jan Smid, and I'm president of Corporate-Copia, LLC. We've been around 25 years. It says here that I'm an expert in project management and leadership. I put that down because I'm so humble. Well, really, I've been teaching for over 30 years. So that gives me a lot of experience. I started with PMBOK 1 in 1996. It was great that a book of standards was finally created. I proctored for the exam at different universities because it was all paper then, not computer. So it was a lot more difficult because there was no book of standards until 1996. It started in 1984, where you had to read 13 different books. There was no test prep questions. There wasn't anything, but people still were adamant about passing, and they did. Now you have it very easy because you have the book of standards, you have practice tests, you have study groups online. So there really are a lot of text, tests, and tools available. So that'll make your job a lot easier if you decide to sit for the exam. I also just retired from UGA and Gwinnett Tech, teaching leadership and project management certification and the fundamentals of project management. I taught internationally for 15 years for Oxford and Cambridge. That was primarily leadership skills and English as a second language. I was formerly PMI PR chair and board member. That was about 15, 20 years ago. It was just when PMI was getting really busy and becoming very popular here in the United States. In 99, I presented in Boston a special interest group called Sales and Marketing. I was the very first person ever to present for that special interest group. And I have a master's degree in project management. It's your turn now, Teresa.
Okay. So this is me. I am Teresa Durham. I'm the owner of Teresa Durham LLC. It's a business consultancy where I help organizations to solve problems and reach their strategic goals via project management, process improvement, including AI automation, as well as operations management. I am a former PMI Atlanta board member and volunteer. Haven't been involved directly in a few years, but I did put in the work for a while. I think it was like 10, 12 years straight. I was a volunteer, and I continue to be a member of both PMI Atlanta and global PMI. I have over 25 years experience in project management in various fields and various types of projects, from software development, process improvement, strategic goal execution, and so forth. And I am a traveler and lifelong learner. Happy to be here with you guys today. So, the reason we're doing this particular webinar is because we respect the profession of project management. Both Jan and I, we respect the project management profession, and we want to support the profession. We want you to be successful, and we want to make sure that we'd like to protect the integrity of the project management profession. So, what we provide to you will be quality information. Don't come to us for quick, quick whiz bang, let me just get certified and run out here and play like I know how to manage a project. We want to make sure that you really can manage a project, whether you choose to be certified or not. So the information we provide you will be quality information that you can use, certified or not. Um, yeah, that's it. So we're all about education and providing practical project management processes and also templates in the workplace. Jan, did you want to add anything more to our mission?
No, I think you've covered it all very well. Thank you, Teresa.
Okay. Oh, there's the practical tools and processes.
Okay, how does one become a project manager? Many times it's accidentally. You're in a meeting, you understand, you may bring it up yourself, a topic, or you may be an active participant in a topic that is brought up in a meeting because you understand the importance of this project within your organization. So you're gung-ho for it, and then all of a sudden you're in charge of it. You become the project manager or the leader of the project management. That's what we call accidental project management. Okay, or you can get training on the job, which is good, but it's hard when you start a project and you really don't understand some of the language. PMI has their own language. It's a lot of words that you already know, but they have different meanings in project management, and we're going to talk about that in our courses. Also, the project management office, which a lot of organizations have, which is setting quality for project management in an organization. And it also provides project managers. If you have a PMO, make sure you use them because they'll help mentor you. That's the fourth bullet down there. And that also covers trained internally. If you don't have a PMO, then you can work with a lot of, well, if there is anybody within the organization who can help you, always go and seek their help. People like to help one another. Okay, there's continuing education classes. That's what we do. There's a prep class and a fundamentals class. We do a leadership class. We're going to do an AI class, a communication class. So those are the things that you need to keep up with on our website. And you can also get a bachelor's or master's in project management. I have a master's in project management, and it is not as recognized as the PMP. If you want to make project management as a career, I strongly suggest that you look into the PMP, because when you're looking for jobs, they don't ask for a bachelor's or master's in project management. They ask for certification, as do many other fields at this point in time. Any questions? Okay, Teresa.
Okay. So another one of the questions that we get is the market oversaturated? The short answer is no. And this is because businesses realize that their strategic goals are realized via projects. So if they say we want to be this type of organization in this number of years, there are certain things they need to do to get to that goal. And projects will get them there. And who's leading the projects? Project managers. So there are so many different types of projects. You've got construction projects, software development projects. You've got, geez, what did I say? Strategic uh, goal realization projects, operational excellence projects, system implementation projects, and so forth. Um, you've got different size organizations having different needs. So if you talk to any project manager out there, you don't know what type of project manager they are. My lips aren't working today. Um, so if they work for a large organization, they may be a project manager that handles many projects at once. They may You may have someone that works in a smaller organization who's running one project. Um, Someone may be running several projects, one project over several years, and so forth. You got people that are full time project managers, and then some people that do project management on a part time basis in addition to their regular work. You've got a significant number of project managers holding the PMP. But one survey done by PMI found that only 35% of the project managers across the United States are PMP certified. Now, the exact number of project managers is unknown, but of course, PMI knows how many hold certificates. So I'm sure this number is estimated. But there's room for more project managers, basically, is what we're saying. So the experience is valued over certification in some industries. So if you look at job postings, you'll often see PMP desired or a PMP certification nice but not required. So there's some organizations that out there recognize the PMP certification as something to uh, uh, as a credential for project managers and people who have committed to a project management career. But they also understand that there are people out there that have been managing projects for years and they have the experience, but for some reason they just never got the certification. So oftentimes, if you are a project manager out there with experience, but you haven't gotten certified, we're not saying you have to get certified in order to be a good project manager. I hope that's I hope that's clear through this message. Um, Organizations will respect your experience based on what it is that they're looking for.
Should I get a PMP or a master's in project management? I touched briefly on that earlier. A PMP is more saleable right now than the degree, as we both mentioned that if you look at job ads, they ask for certification or say that it is preferable or would be an additional bonus. Um, Also, we've seen in the education field that things are going towards more specific fields versus broader degrees or knowledge. Um, Tech schools are growing, and because of this phenomenon that a general degree or even like a specific degree it doesn't carry as much weight as certifications from tech schools now in a lot of industries. I know that sounds contrary to everything we've ever thought, but I've seen the trend in many different areas. So you might want to look into that if you're thinking. I'm not trying to tell you not to get a degree. I'm in education, have been my whole life, and I totally believe. But if you are looking for a job and you might want to look at certification in the field that you're wanting to go into or that you already are in. Okay. If you go out to the PMI website, pmi.org, there's a lot of statistics out there, a lot of good information that you can find. There's 1.4 million PMP certification holders worldwide right now. Okay, and there's Teresa's going to talk about it next. Is there's all kinds of new, not new industries, but new opportunities that are going to open up in various industries. And all that is out there also on pmi.org. Okay, Teresa?
So yeah, as Jan was saying, there are other project management certifications in addition to the PMP. There's Prince 2, which you may or may not have heard of, and that is a project management certification that's more popular in Europe. Um, so there are organizations that still look for that Prince 2 certification, even though PMI has gone worldwide and it's pretty much taken over as far as project management certifications that are recognized by the industry. But Prince 2 is still out there, and if you're interested in work in the European nation, you would want to look into Prince 2. Of course, certified Scrum Master, Agile has been all the rage for some time. Uh, Getting a certified Scrum Master degree, you can get through an organization called Scrum Alliance. I think there are others that you can get this through. And then PMI also has a PMI Agile Certified Practitioner certification that you can get in addition to your PMP. So that's becoming recognized as well. Um, it all depends on the types of uh, projects that you're going to be managing. So I wouldn't run out and try to collect, all these different project management certifications. They have a risk certification and
Scheduling.
scheduling certification that you can add in addition to your PMP. They're more, these people that work on these larger projects will have a whole team that handles scheduling. So there are organizations that are like that, and you could be in that field where you're narrowly focused on just one part of the project management cycle. So that is out there if you're interested in it, but by no means is it necessary, and I don't think it's necessarily going to move you forward as far as career wise. There's also the CaPM, which I forgot to add on here. We're often asked about that. That is a certification. It's kind of like a junior PMP, but it's not required before you take the PMP. Jan, you want to talk about that? I know you've had more experience with people asking about that.
Yes. The PMP came out first originally, and then PMI realized that there was a certain degree of people out there, an audience that they weren't touching. CaPM are for people who are fresh out of college or have had less than 3 years of experience in project management or even work experience. Okay, but the thing is, it's still based on the PMBOK. There's less questions and less intense questions, let's put it that way. The typical person, as I said earlier, is someone who doesn't have the experience that PMI demands, and that they want to learn project management. It'd look good on your resume. It's a resume builder, but it's not necessary. If you just take a fundamentals like we offer, that would be, you could prove that you know your project management. The CaPM, as I said, is based on a PMBOK, and it is intense. But a lot of people think it's lockstep, that you have to take the CaPM first or the CaPM first, but you don't. It's just geared towards college graduates or people who have experience but don't have 3 years of experience. Are there any questions on that? Okay, thank you.
Oh, I just bounced over to check on questions. Okay, so as far as the PMP, it is the most sought after project management certification. So if you were to look out at the job postings anywhere, LinkedIn, Indeed, Monster, I don't know, is a Monster even still out there? Career Builder, Computer Jobs, I'm telling my age here. But you will, if you do a search just on PMP, you'll see that about 12% of all job postings listed as a requirement. Many of them, if they list it at all, will say it's a nice to have. Um, but it's not necessarily a requirement or something that's going to keep you out of a job for over 80% of the project management jobs out there. Now, I will mention that oftentimes the PM certification will give you a higher salary increase, just like, having a bachelor's degree versus a master's degree and so forth will increase your salary in a particular role typically. But yeah, that's it on that. And again, any questions with regard to the PM certification? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the future outlook for project managers. So, uh, yeah, I'll say it's bright. The future outlook for project managers is bright. And the reason I say that is because if you look at any organization, at least in the United States, you ask them, what is your strategic focus over the next 3 to 5 years? They'll typically say these things. Now, this came from a study, and I never put the resource for the study down, but I can say just from working over 25 years in these organizations, I think these four things will be something that organizations will repeat year after year. They're looking forward to embedding new technologies into their business models. They're introducing new revenue streams, right? Corporations all about making that money, digitizing their operations, getting away from paper, improving resiliency and sustainability. That's something that they always want to do. So I guarantee you, I would almost bet money, but I'm not a betting person, so I'm not. But most organizations will say these four things. They're looking to do this over the next 3 to 5 years, and this will continue. So, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, how do organizations reach their strategic goals is through projects. So they're going to need projects to get to embed the new technologies, to introduce new revenue streams, to digitize their operations, and so forth. Also, there's an increase in demand for project managers in the United States. I know the job field looking for jobs has been tough over the past several months. Um, but I will say that just this week alone, I've gotten a good handful of project management job requisitions in my email personally. So I know it's beginning to pick up. And it typically does at different points throughout the year based on a company's fiscal year. Where they're spending their money and they review their budget and say, "Oh, we've got money to spend. We haven't spent it. Let's ramp up some projects." So this is what going into the third quarter. A lot of them are ramping up projects. They want to get some things done or at least started before the end of the year. So the next month or so, you may be seeing more requests for project managers out there. In addition to that, you've got AI kicking off, right? That's all everybody's talking about. It's predicted that over 80% of companies are expected to adopt generative AI by 2026. You've got hybrid and electric vehicle manufacturing increasing. So you're seeing more and more electric vehicles on the road. They're expecting a 29% growth. So not only are they doing those vehicles, but they also have to do the infrastructure, put more of these pumps, available for more of the cars on the road. 3D printing and rapid prototyping services. Remember, I don't know if you remember, but before AI was kind of like the talk of the town, these 3D printers were all over the place. And they, every time I turn around, I was seeing a video on social media of somebody 3D printed something. Um, yeah. So they're expecting a 26.2% growth in that industry. You've got the unmanned aerial vehicle manufacturing, or what we consider drones, and that's being pushed by the government and agriculture. So they're benefiting from, putting these drones in the air and being able to see a larger swath of land and make decisions based on that information. So that's expected to grow by 23%. And lastly, there was an Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act put in place by President Biden uh, totaling $1.2 trillion. And it's been set aside for the overhauling of U.S. airports, railways, waterways, roads, and bridges, as well as internet infrastructure. And you're wondering who doesn't have internet these days? Well, these uh, country, what do they call it? Not urban, suburban, and further out rural areas. They still need internet out there. So there are a lot of places that still do not have a good internet infrastructure in place. So all this money has been set aside for all these different infrastructure projects for the various states. And as they're vying for this money, they're kicking off projects. And what do they need for those projects? Project managers.
That's correct.
It's a lot going on, right?
Sure is. I love
So,
the infrastructure.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I love the Biden
The
infrastructure
infrastructure.
projects. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that's great.
So, the future outlook for project managers continued. We're expecting over 13 million project managers to retire by 2030. And I hope to be one of them. I hope I can hang up my project management shoes and pass it off to the younger generation. So, in expecting all these PMs to retire, they need over 25 million new project managers by 2030 to take care of all these new projects that they foresee coming. Um, so, how can you make yourself stand out? It's been determined, again, based off of PMI study, that there's a widespread lack of focus on developing and retaining existing project managers. Um, I think we can see that in different companies. You know, as you watch the technology companies laying people off, and people are worried about AI taking their jobs. I don't think project managers have to worry about AI taking their job anytime soon, um, because project managers typically have to deal with people, and you're not going to get a robot or do that, managing teams and so forth, at least for a while. So I think we're good with regard to that. So these organizations may not be focusing on developing and retaining their current project managers, but you have to take your development into your own hands. So that's why we will be providing some options for you in a couple more slides. Also, there's an image problem. You know, we're giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So the image problem uh, is that project managers are not seen as problem solvers or essential staff. So PMI is working on that. You'll start to notice, especially if you're a member of PMI, a lot of the communication that's coming out now is talking about project managers as more strategic thinkers, getting these CEOs and executive um, leaders to, hey, look at project managers, the things that they learn, especially as a certified PMP, the things that we learn give us a good background in order to plan and be strategic, include us in information before the projects come down the pipe. Uh, and then these struggling capabilities, as I mentioned earlier, ways to make yourself stand out in the field. Right now, managers have said that these five things are what existing project managers struggle with in the field. Relationship building, which is very important as a leader, period. Collaborative leadership, you have to be able to work with others well. Strategic thinking, I think that's an oversight on their part. I think they don't give project managers the opportunity to think strategically. So hopefully that will be changing soon. And if you have this skill, um, you know, when you're in an interview or you're in a role as a project manager, show off these skills. Creative problem solving. You have to have this, especially when you're dealing with change management within a project, because you can plan all you want to, something's always going to come up. And the more creative you can be in solving those problems, the better off you and your team will be, as well as the outcome of the project. And lastly, commercial awareness, the knowledge of the business and industry. I kind of, I don't know, I see both sides of this because PMI teaches us that as a project manager, if you have these particular skills, these core skills, you can manage any type of project. But it's always good to have some knowledge of the business that you're working in, and it will give you a foot up, you know, as far as understanding some things that might come into play that you need to take into consideration as you plan or as you're working with your team. But I don't think that lack of knowledge of the business or a particular industry should rule out someone who has a good project management uh, background. But that's just my 2 cents. But again, these struggling capabilities, if you have these skills, show them off. If you don't have these skills, get them. Get them. We offer classes where you can get these skills. So how are we doing on time? We're doing really good on time. We're going to get done early, it looks like. Do we have
Yeah.
any questions so far?
Yeah, I've got 12:30,
Okay.
12:31.
Okay. So no questions. Let's keep it going. So ultimately, what we're telling you is, as far as project management, it's up to you. You want to be a good project manager, get a PMP or don't. That's not going to determine your value as a project manager, but do get the experience. Get the experience managing projects. Do become a better project manager. Don't be one of those people that just gets a certification and waves it and say, I have the certification, and then you get in the role and then you're not doing a good job. That shows, all that does is tell people that the PMP isn't valuable. People that have it aren't good project managers, and it's just bad for the profession overall. So, what we encourage is to be a better project manager, not necessarily get your PMP, period, but be a better project manager. Get the experience that you need, get the education that you need, develop yourself, especially if you plan on making project management your career. So, with that, we do offer 2 classes. Jan?
Yes, you can find the classes. Well, one of the first classes that we're going to offer is Project Manager as a Leader and Team Builder. It's a 4-hour session on a Saturday, and we're going to take leadership styles assessment. This is where you will learn what your leadership style is, and there's 4 styles, and who responds best to that leadership style based on their motivation level and skill level. This is very, very helpful. I've been teaching this for 25 years, and people say it is so helpful when they are working as a leader or as a team member. We're also going to do a motivation assessment to see what motivates you and motivates others. And then we're even going to create a list that are things that you can do that cost and don't cost money to motivate your coworkers or your team members. Then we're going to talk about team motivation strategies. Part of that is this list and other strategies that you can use to motivate. And who should attend? People who are current and aspiring project managers, team leaders, coordinators, and managers. Anybody basically who works with people, who lead them, manage them, or who just interact with other team members. Okay, the next one, Teresa. Okay, another project. Where do we start? I mean, so many times people don't even know how to organize. This course tells you how to organize a project. It is 8 hours, but it's only 2 days, 2 hours twice a week for 2 weeks. Okay, so that's 4 hours a week. Say 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday for week 1, 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday for week 2. So that's 8 hours. It's very interactive. We give you templates that you can actually use in the workplace. We tell you best practices, and you'll learn the new vocabulary of both Agile and project management. It'll help you improve productivity, and it's a foundation for aspiring PMPs. This is not a prep for the PMP. It is a high-level overview to see if you like this as a profession and to see if you want to go on and take the PMP. I forgot to mention that this is online, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30, so that you can do it from work, or you can go home and do it at home. It's not hours after you've worked all day. I've learned this. I've taught many, many times, especially at Gwinnett Tech. People go in after work. We start at 5:30 and end at 9. Well, by 8 o'clock, nobody's paying any attention, and it can't physically or mentally handle that. You think you are, but according to statistics, it's impossible. So that's why we've created this format, and hope that, well, know that it will work much better than what's out there.
Exactly. And I'd like to add that both of these classes are open for registration now. Early registration is open. There's an early bird price, and that price will go up. These courses will begin at the beginning of August. Um, let's see, I do have the dates here. The fundamentals, that's this one, another project, will be August 12th through the 21st. As you mentioned, 2 hours twice a week for 2 weeks. And then the leadership, the one before, is on Saturday, August 31st. And that's in the morning. So just 4 hours in the morning, and then you can have the rest of your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. So we put this first schedule together with people who are working, keeping you guys in mind. So this is just the start. We'll have daytime classes and other classes to offer later on, but this is just a start. So if you get in early, not only will you get a discount, but everyone who registers for these classes will get a free copy of my ebook, Tag Your It, Project Management for the Incidental Project Manager. And this is an ebook that walks you through how to manage a project. You know, when they say, hey, guess who's going to run this project? You. Surprise. Uh, so this book will help walk you through managing a project if you're in that situation. And then also, those who register at the early bird price will be in a drawing for your choice of a free project management t-shirt or a tote bag. I threw the tote bag in there too. So these are some of the designs that I've created for project managers. And you'll get your choice. You get to pick, you know, your design, your color, your size, and so forth. And there are other designs in addition to this. So we hope that's an incentive to get you excited about the classes. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any questions? I'm going to pop over to the chat box and see if we have any questions. And it doesn't look like we have any. So, Jan, do you want to add anything before we go?
No, I just hope we see you soon. Have a good week. Bye.
Okay. And oh, wait a minute.
Sorry.
Go ahead and connect with us on LinkedIn. Here you can find Jan Smid, and you can find me. And if you're ready to register, go ahead to my website and go under events, and you'll see those classes. And we hope to do some more webinars in the future. So to keep up with those, go ahead and again follow us, and keep an eye on the events calendar, and you'll see what new webinars we have in store and what new classes we add to our roster. So, like we say, thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that this information was helpful, and we hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.